Hello all. So in the last sessions we were discussing about what are the best practices in developing NLP application, where we have started with batching instances, tokenization, avoiding overfitting. Today in this session I would like to discuss another important parameter where we deal with imbalanced data set, which is one of the most important step for developing NLP applications. Okay, so when we talk about dealing with imbalanced data sets, it is very important to understand the balancing of the data sets. Okay, so this is crucial to ensure that the model performs well across all classes, not just the majority class. Okay, so there are different strategies that we use for uh, balancing the data sets, out of which one is evaluation metrics. We use different evaluation metrics such as precision, recall, F1 score, AOC, area under curve, region of curve. Okay, so using appropriate evaluation metrics is crucial because imbalanced data sets will lead to misaccuracy. Okay, for instance, in a binary classification problem with 90 to 10 imbalance, okay, the model that predicts a major class for all instances will achieve 90% accuracy and will have only 0% for recall for the minority class. Okay, so for that reason we apply evaluation metrics as one of the parameters for balancing the data sets. And next, we also can use different sampling techniques: upsampling, downsampling, or we call oversampling, undersampling also. Okay, so basically when we talk about oversampling, it involves increasing the number of minority class samples to balance the data set. When I talk about undersampling, it reduces the number of samples in the majority class. Okay, so there are different sampling techniques also that you can use. And we talk about algorithmic techniques. Many machine learning algorithms allow the assignment of different weights to different classes. Okay, so by giving higher weight to the minority class, the algorithm penalizes mistakes on the minority class more than on those of the majority class. Okay, so this will encourage the model to pay more attention to the minority class. So we have different types of loss functions, focal loss, and all that, which we can use for algorithmic techniques. And you can also go for data augmentation. Data augmentation basically involves generating new data points to increase the size and diversity of the training data set. Okay, so in the context of NLP, this can be done through various techniques such as back translation, paraphrasing. You can also go for synonym replacement. Many such things can be done in data augmentation to avoid imbalanced dataset issue. And then we can also use ensemble methods, which combines multiple models to improve performance. When I talk about in the context of imbalanced dataset, ensemble methods like bagging, boosting are particularly effective. Okay, so these are different approaches that you can use when you deal with imbalanced data set. By applying these techniques, you can mitigate the impact of imbalanced data, and you can develop more robust and fair NLP models. Okay, now let us concentrate and focus on few important topics in detail when we talk about dealing with imbalanced data set. We'll focus on one of the most common problems in building this NLP and machine learning models. Okay, so when we talk about imbalance problem, okay, the goal of classification task, when I talk about classification task, for example, email filtering. Okay, so the goal of this classification task is to assign one of the classes, that is, the message can be either a spam or not spam to each instance, or example, to all the mails that we get. Okay, but these classes are rarely distributed evenly. For example, in spam filtering, the number of non-spam emails is usually larger than the number of spam emails, right? Spam emails are very less compared to non-spam. Okay, so when you talk about document classification also, some topics such as politics or sports are usually more popular than other topics. Okay, classes are classes are said to be imbalanced when some classes have more way instances than others. Okay, so many classification datasets have imbalanced classes, okay, which poses some additional challenges when you train your classifier. Okay, so when we talk about especially when we talk about the signals, our models gets smaller classes when they're overloaded, and then the other models may not be that specific in detail. So we prefer to use many performance evaluation metrics. For example, as I discussed, F1 score is usually preferred instead of accuracy. So basically, if you understand confusion matrix, where we understand precision, recall, and F1 score, it will be very easy for us to balance the data sets. And the next topic that I would like to discuss is about upsampling and downsampling, and also weight loss management. Okay, so as you can see here, the instances are classified into class A and class B. Using appropriate evaluation metrics will help us in understanding the model better. So before we even begin tweaking your data set on your model, make sure that you're validating your model with an appropriate metric. Okay, as discussed, why it is a bad idea to use evaluation as your metric, because if you take the data set with most of the classifier into one particular data. For example, if you take spam emails more and non-spam emails, that would be a problem if you go for accuracy. Okay, because if 90% of your instances are belonging to class A and other are belonging to class B, as you can see in the figure, then you are supposed you're just building a stupid classifier which does not give you a proper instance. Okay, so this particular problem is called as a majority class baseline, a slightly more clever classifier that randomly classifies, and assigns a label of 90% of the time and label B as 10% of the time without even looking at the instance, which will achieve almost 82% of the accuracy when you calculate 0.9 into 0.9 plus 0.1 into 0.1, because I'm dividing it into 90 and 10 classes. Okay, so this is called as random baseline, and the more imbalanced your data set is, the higher the accuracy of these baseline models will become. Okay, so this kind of calculating your apply F1 scores and all that would be a problem when we talk about balancing and imbalancing of your data set. So for that reason, we go for the next technique, which is called as sampling. Okay, now when I talk about upsampling and downsampling, let us look into more concrete examples on how do I define and mitigate the class imbalance problem. Okay, first of all, if you want to collect more label training data, you should seriously consider doing this one first. Okay, unlike academic and ML competition settings where the data set is fixed while you tweak your model, in a real world setting you are free to do whatever is necessary to improve your model. Okay, so just understand that if if your data set is imbalanced and the model is making biased predictions, you can either upsample or downsample your data as per the requirement, so that the classes have roughly equal representations. Okay, so when I talk about upsampling, okay, first let's discuss about each and every score in detail. When I talk about upsampling, as you can see here in the picture, the middle figure, okay, so you artificially try to increase the size of the minority class by copying the instances multiple times. Okay, so take the scenario we have discussed earlier, taking spam filtering into consideration. If you duplicate the instances of class B and add extra pieces to this particular thing, so we can we can share equal number of instances. Whereas when you go about downsampling, I'm trying to reduce the class A size which will match to class B size. Okay, so this is another technique in which the model will not be biased, not because the minority class is too small, but because the majority class is too large. Okay, you can instead choose to downsample or upsample, and you can balance your data set. Okay, so basically note that either upsampling or downsampling, it is a magic bullet. Okay, if you correct the distribution of classes too aggressively, your risk making unfair predictions for the majority class would increase. So therefore you can either go for upsampling or downsampling apart from calculating the F1 score. Okay, lastly, talking about weighting losses, that is the algorithmic approach. So this is another approach for mitigating the class imbalanced data sets. Okay, so here what we use is we prefer computing the loss instead of making modification to your training data. Okay, first I'll go for calculating the loss, and if I feel the loss is more, I'll go for back propagation techniques, and then I'll adjust the loss such that I can balance my data sets. Okay, so let's look into a concrete example and wind up the session. The binary cross entropy loss. Okay, for example, when we talk about loss in prediction, let's look into binary cross entropy loss, a common loss function that is used for training a binary classifier. Okay, so as you can see here in the figure, the first picture depicts the binary cross entropy loss. The x-axis is the prediction probability of the target class, and the y-axis is the total loss which is predicted. Okay, so when the prediction is perfectly correct, the probability would be 1, where there is no penalty, whereas if the prediction goes wrong, the probability would be less than 1, that the loss goes up. Okay, so you can either go for binary and cross entropy loss, or you can prefer weighted binary cross entropy loss and calculate your uh, go for deal with imbalanced data sets. Okay, so it is very easy to implement loss weighting in PyTorch or LNLP rather than you go for uh, Hugging Face transformers. Okay, so these are the three methods in which we actually balance the data sets such that we will not have any discrepancy while you're training the data, testing the data, or validating your data sets. Okay, so please understand these three techniques: calculating the FN, not just FN score, you can go for accuracy or you can go for confusion matrix, and then you can also deal with upsampling and downsampling, and then also use weight lossing techniques. Okay, so with this I wind up the session wherein we have discussed about various techniques by which you can improve the performance of the model. Thank you so much. See you in the next class.